Today, let's make some cute little Christmas treats. Quick and easy, no-cook, coconut ice and coconut snowballs, but with a secret ingredient. Coconut ice is a classic British confectionery that comes together in no time. Now let me show you how I make it.
Hey there, this is Veena from Patty Cake. A warm welcome to my channel.
And if you're looking for the right ingredient proportions and all the essential instructions for getting a recipe right, you've come to the right place. I'll be making coconut ice squares with half of the coconut ice mixture and coconut snowballs with the other half. We'll start by preparing the pan or container for setting the coconut ice squares. This is a 5-inch by 5-inch container. But you could also use a larger pan or loaf pan and spread the coconut ice mixture over just part of it. I'll grease the container with oil as we'll be chilling the coconut ice in the fridge and then removing it from the pan. Unlike butter or ghee, however, that would solidify in the fridge, oil will remain unchanged, making it easier to remove the coconut ice slab from the pan after chilling it. Let's line this with parchment paper, leaving an overhang on two sides for lifting the coconut ice slab out afterwards. To this bowl, I'll add 325 grams or 3 1/4 cups of desiccated coconut and 160 grams or 1 1/2 cups of powdered sugar. I got this by finely grinding granulated sugar at home. Instead, you could also use icing sugar. I'll mix the two well and then add in my secret ingredient, half a cup of milk powder. You could add dairy whitener instead. This is a Patty Cake addition. The milk powder not only enhances the taste, it also cuts down the sweetness of the coconut ice. Let's also add 2 pinches of salt and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and then mix everything. Finally, we'll pour in 1 tin of condensed milk. The condensed milk weighs 400 grams and measures 300 ml. Let's mix everything. Till it forms a soft lump. Next, we'll roughly divide it into 2 portions. We'll cover one portion and set it aside for making the snowballs later on. And with this one, we'll make the coconut ice squares. Let's divide it into 2 parts. I'll add some green food color to this part. And mix the color in well. This other part will remain uncolored. I'll now break up the uncolored part into smaller fragments and transfer these to the container I prepared and spread these across the base. I'll flatten this to form an even layer and use the back of a spoon to level it and make the top of this layer smooth. You could also use an icing smoother or the bottom of a measuring cup or vati for this. But I find the back of a spoon does the job just fine. Now let's spread the crumbled green colored part over the uncolored layer. Let's press these down to form a uniform top layer and then smoothen the top with the back of a spoon like before. Let's sprinkle a little desiccated coconut over the top layer like a dusting of snow. Cover the container and chill the coconut ice in the fridge for 2 hours. In the meanwhile, let's make the coconut ice snowballs. Let's divide the second portion that we had set aside earlier into 3 sections, making one section a little smaller, which we'll leave uncolored, and divide the rest of the mixture into 2 more or less equal sections. I'm using my clean hands to handle these and make the snowballs. But you could use gloves at this stage if you want. I'm using my bare hands for better control. I'll transfer one of the bigger sections to the same bowl in which I had used green color for the coconut ice. We'll mix green color into this one and pink color into the other larger section. But just a little because I prefer light pastel colors for the snowballs. I'll now divide this into smaller pieces to make snowballs. I've got 8 of them. I'm only roughly molding them at this stage and will give them a smoother finish later on. Let's move on to the other section and color it pink. This is a concentrated color, so I'll first add a few drops of it to a smaller bowl. And then color the coconut ice with just a little of it. A gentle reminder to please like this video if you find it useful, and do subscribe for more tasty recipes. I'll now divide this section too into smaller pieces and make 8 roughly molded pink snowballs. We'll now move on to the smallest section, from which we'll shape 16 tiny balls to form the core of the snowballs. We'll make 8 for the green ones and 8 for the pink ones. Now, before dividing this section into small balls, you could mix around 2 to 3 tablespoons of finely chopped cashew nuts into it. That's what I had intended to do, but forgot to keep this ready before I started the shooting of this video, and therefore I had to proceed without the cashew nuts. Moving on, let me show you how to make the snowballs. You could of course make plain snowballs without a differently colored center, but this is how I like to make them. Let me make a pink coconut snowball first. We'll create a hollow in the center and give it a cup shape. Place an uncolored ball inside and then cover it entirely with the outer pink part. I'll give the snowball a smooth spherical shape by rolling it lightly between my palms. Like this. I'll then roll the snowball in desiccated coconut. And here's our first cute little coconut snowball. Similarly, let me make a green one. This one too looks so cute, no? In the same way, I'll make the rest of the snowballs. Here are some of them. You could chill the coconut snowballs too in the fridge for around 2 hours, but that's optional. The coconut ice slab had to be chilled to get cleaner cuts when we cut it into squares. Let me cut one snowball to show you the texture and the inside. Looks tempting, doesn't it? Now back to our 2-layered coconut ice slab. Let's remove it from the fridge after chilling it for 2 hours. And then take it out from the square container. Now let's cut it into neat little squares with a sharp knife. See that you keep the size of the squares or snowballs small enough to be eaten in just 2 or 3 bites, like in the case of pedas. Let me show you the texture at this stage after setting it for 2 hours. A little firmer on the outside, but soft inside. For the more traditional version, you could keep the cut coconut ice squares uncovered and let them air dry for around 8 hours, so that the outer surface becomes a little crustier, but the inside will still be nice and soft. After the delicious coconut ice squares and snowballs come to room temperature, you should store them in an airtight container. To be on the safe side, especially if it's warm where you live, you could move the coconut ice squares to the fridge after a week, if they last that long, that is. The coconut snowballs, however, should be moved to the fridge after 4 days. So do enjoy this 4-ingredient, quick-to-make, tasty sweet at Christmas time. Whether you choose to make coconut ice squares or coconut snowballs, you'll love them. But which will you make? I'll eagerly wait for your comments. And I'll be back with one more Christmas time treat. Till then, take care and happy cooking. And Merry Christmas to all.